Water is disappearing, and your garden doesn't have to die with it. Across the world, droughts are lasting longer, hitting harder, and becoming more unpredictable. Lawns turn brown, rivers shrink, water restrictions tighten, and many people assume that growing food is simply impossible without steady rainfall. But that assumption is wrong. You can grow food during a drought, not the same way you would in a rainy season, not carelessly, not with waste, but with the right system, it is absolutely possible, and it can still be productive. The real reason most gardens fail during a drought is simple. They were designed for abundance. Traditional gardening depends on frequent watering, wide spacing, bare soil, and shallow roots. It works when water is easy, but when water becomes scarce, that entire structure collapses. The problem is not only the lack of water, the problem is how water is managed. When soil is exposed directly to the sun, it loses moisture fast. When plants are watered lightly every day, their roots stay near the surface, where the soil dries quickly. When the ground is compacted, water runs off instead of sinking deep. So during a drought, the goal is not to use more water. The goal is to protect, store, and direct every drop. The first step is fixing the soil. Healthy soil acts like a water reservoir. Soil that is rich in organic matter can hold several times more water than dry, poor soil. Compost works like a sponge. It absorbs water and releases it slowly to plant roots over time. If you want your garden to survive dry conditions, add compost generously. Mix in aged manure if you have it. Avoid synthetic fertilizers that damage soil life. Keep the soil loose and alive. Worms and microorganisms create tiny channels that help water move deeper into the ground instead of evaporating from the surface. Think of your soil as a savings account. The richer it is, the more water it can store for when your plants truly need it. The second step is mulching. Bare soil during a drought is a serious mistake. Mulch is protection. A thick layer of straw, dry leaves, wood chips, or even dried grass clippings covers the soil and shields it from direct sun. This keeps the ground cooler and dramatically reduces evaporation. With just a few inches of mulch, you can reduce water loss by almost half. That means fewer watering sessions and stronger plants. Mulch also improves soil over time as it breaks down, making your garden even more resilient in the future. If you change only one thing this season, cover your soil. The third step is choosing the right crops. Not all plants handle drought equally. Some vegetables demand constant moisture, like lettuce or celery. Others are naturally more tolerant of dry conditions. During a drought, focus on crops like beans, cowpeas, okra, sweet potatoes, peppers, eggplant, and well-established tomatoes. Many herbs like rosemary, thyme, and sage also thrive in drier soil. Deep-rooted plants are especially valuable because they search for water below the surface instead of depending on frequent watering. Instead of planting many weak crops, plant fewer and grow them stronger. Overcrowding increases competition for limited moisture. Smart selection reduces stress before it even begins. The fourth step is changing how you water. Frequent shallow watering creates fragile plants. Their roots stay close to the surface, and they suffer quickly when heat increases. Instead, water deeply and less often. Soak the soil thoroughly so moisture reaches far below the surface. This encourages roots to grow downward, making plants more drought-resistant over time. Water early in the morning or late in the evening to reduce evaporation. If possible, use drip irrigation or soaker hoses that deliver water directly to the roots instead of spraying it into the air. Clay pot irrigation, where unglazed pots are buried and slowly release water into the soil, can also be very effective. The goal is precision, not volume. It is not about using more water, it's about using it intelligently. The fifth step is reducing plant stress from heat and wind. Strong sun and dry winds increase water loss dramatically. Even simple shade during the hottest hours can make a big difference. Shade cloth, taller plants positioned to protect smaller ones, or basic windbreaks can lower the overall water demand of your garden. When plants are protected from extreme stress, they use water more efficiently. Even small changes in microclimate can improve survival rates during long dry periods. The sixth step is capturing and reusing water whenever possible. Even in a drought, small amounts of water are available. Rain barrels can collect precious rainfall during short storms. Water used to rinse vegetables in the kitchen can be reused in the garden if it contains no soap. Air conditioning units produce condensation that can be collected. Garden beds can be shaped slightly to direct runoff toward plant roots. These small systems may seem minor, but together they create stability. One well-captured rainstorm can supply weeks of careful irrigation. Here is the most important idea to remember. Drought gardening is about design, not desperation. Many people panic when water becomes scarce. They try to save everything at once. They water more often. They react emotionally. But success comes from building a structure that works with limited water from the beginning. When your soil holds moisture, when your plants grow deep roots, when your beds are covered, when your watering is precise, and when your crops are chosen wisely, your garden becomes naturally resilient. You stop fighting the drought. You adapt to it. Droughts are becoming more common, but food security doesn't have to disappear with rainfall. With thoughtful design and consistent action, you can grow food even under dry conditions. It may not look like a lush rainy season garden, but it will survive, and survival creates independence. If you want to move from theory to practice, start small. Improve your soil first. Add mulch next. Adjust your watering habits. Choose crops carefully. Build your system step by step. That's how real resilience is created. Subscribe to the channel if you want more practical, structured guides like this to help you build a self-sufficient garden that can handle real-world challenges. And check the description for a simple drought garden planning checklist that will help you apply this system clearly and efficiently. It's the natural next step if you're serious about growing food even when water is scarce. Your garden doesn't need perfect weather. It needs a smarter system.